This is gonna be a long one. I did not expect to run into the amount of things that I ran into making this video. So get comfortable. If you got stuff to do, put this on in the background. Let all the ads play. I'm kidding. Well, if you have clothes to fold, whip them out. That's the type of video this is about to be. Grab lunch, dinner, get you some snacks, hefty serving of water. We're really sinking our teeth in here today, guys.
You are now one of my elite employees.
Hi, my name is Donnie and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm gonna be honest, I may have uncovered the greatest grifting scandal of all time. Not to hype it up. I'm also gonna preface this entire video with allegedly, everything is allegedly, because the person we're talking about today, he loved to sue. He was like the type of person that likes to send a cease and desist. We are just discussing things today that have already been discussed on the internet. Today we're talking about Niché Ujekule. Forgive me if I did not pronounce the last name correctly. I did look it up, but as I was doing research for this video, I don't recall hearing Niché say her own last name. I could have overlooked it. I do sincerely apologize if I mess that up. Niché, from what I know, is born and raised in Nigeria, currently residing LA adjacent by way of Florida. There was a more recent video I came across where she was advising that she had moved out of LA, but like kinda. I believe it's safe to say she's somewhere in California. I'm gonna call her a content creator for the sake of this video. She's done quite a bit in the content creating space, and that's what this video is about. So sometime last year, I came across this beautiful woman with great bone structure on my For You page, and she was speaking about quantum physics. And at the time, I did not think too much about this video. I liked the video physically because I liked what she was talking about, and this woman looked very put together and expensive, and I could appreciate what she was saying.
A whole year of studying quantum physics. Here's everything I learned. Hi, my name is nikénotnike. I study all things neuroscience. Let's do it. I want to preface this by saying first, science is simply logical spirituality. You don't attract what you want, ever. You attract who you are. Let's get into it.
So a couple weeks after I saw that video, I came across another TikTok of an actual person with a degree in quantum physics or physics, and he was responding to the video that I had seen of the very beautiful put together woman talking about quantum physics, sort of debunking pretty much everything that she said.
A whole year of studying quantum physics. Here's everything I learned.
This will not go well.
I want to preface this by saying first, science is simply logical spirituality.
I don't understand that at all. Science is a method, or alternatively, a body of facts, observations, and models derived from that method. Logical spirituality is, I don't even know, but it's not that.
In the quantum field, every possibility exists at once. There's a version of you that's healed, that's rich.
So it sounds like she's working within the Everettian, or many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. That's fine, I do too. It is a bit of a misunderstanding, though, that in the context of the many worlds interpretation that all conceivable realities are realized. It's only those realities that can be realized as a result of quantum measurements that occur as distinct worlds among the many worlds. And most classical decisions don't involve such a quantum measurement, so most events that determined the path your life took don't end up causing branching.
Your feelings, they're not just sensations, they're frequencies.
Frequencies of what? Frequencies are properties of periodic or oscillatory behavior of something. A frequency isn't a thing on its own. Something has to be actually oscillating for there to be a frequency.
When your nervous system believes something, the whole universe rearranges itself to match it.
Okay, let's try it. Alright, my nervous system is now in full believing that there is no spreading of misinformation about quantum mechanics. Did it work? No? She's still here? Guess not.
You're never experiencing the world. You're always experiencing your nervous system.
Well, that's true in the most literal sense.
Before, observation creates reality. The moment you focus on something, you collapse infinite possibilities into one timeline.
So now she's contradicting herself. At first, she was pushing a view that relies on the many worlds interpretation being true, even if she butchered it. But now she's saying quantum wave functions collapse. So which is it? Because in the many worlds interpretation, it's only because the wave function never collapses that the many worlds exist at all. There aren't many worlds if you think that wave function collapse is a real thing.
Next, your thoughts are electrical. Your emotions are magnetic, and together they broadcast your frequency, and life mirrors it right back to you.
So thoughts are in some sense electrical, although perhaps electrochemical is more accurate. But so are your emotions. There's not a lot of magnetism going on in your body, aside from accidental magnetism produced by electrical signals changing.
The second you tell everyone your dreams, you invite their energy, their doubts, their projections into your quantum field.
You don't have a quantum field. No one does. It's not a personal thing. Quantum fields are fields that pervade the entirety of space-time, and there's only a few dozen total.
Quantum field does not respond to begging. Never.
Well, yeah. That's true, but for the obvious reason that quantum fields aren't sentient and don't have ears.
Time is not linear. The future, the past, the current time, they all coexist in the quantum field at the same time.
Well, that depends on what quantum gravity is, but I doubt she was referring to the Page-Wooters mechanism here.
Which means you can go into your past, and rewrite your story at any time.
No, it doesn't mean that. Not at all.
Quantum field doesn't listen to your words. It listens to your vibration.
Man, can we stop with the quantum woo? This is getting really out of hand. This original video got over 6 million views. Do better, humanity.
I watched the entire video. I listened to it. I like knowing both sides of the equation. I started going through the comments, as you do on TikTok. And I noticed that in the comments, someone was calling the woman in the video that he was responding to
a grifter.
And in that moment, I got a wave of flashbacks. And things in my brain just started happening. And I started to think to myself, you know what? I think I've seen this lady. I think I've heard this voice.
Grifter?
I think I've seen this name. And then I told you to get a hefty serving of water. What's in that cup? We gotta go through this every video because you want to remain reliant on juice, soda, pop. I don't care that it's sugar-free.
Go get some water.
And we're not going back and forth either. I already told you the video is long. So everybody else that has their water today, family sip. Cheers. It all came rushing back to me. This is Specs and Blazers from the 2023 Fanita Bria Tarte Trip drama.
So Tarte is a makeup brand that has known to be problematic because they are not inclusive with their shades and they've known to discriminate against the melanated queens. Last year, they were sponsoring a trip to the F1 races in Florida, and they took a bunch of influencers. One of the influencers, I believe her name was Bria Jones, a black girl, got invited. She started comparing notes with the white girls and noticing that her itinerary didn't look like theirs. So she calls up Tarte and she was like, hey girl, I've been comparing notes and my itinerary doesn't look like theirs. I'm not staying for the race. My lodging is different than theirs and my goodie bag is different than theirs. Like, is this a mistake? What's going on? And Tarte was like, oh no girl, it's not a mistake. This is what we intended to do. So, just deal with it. Bria was like, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to bow out gracefully. And then she got on TikTok and told us all what happened. And because Bria got on TikTok and told us what happened, it caused this uproar and everybody started pulling the receipts and reminding everyone how problematic Tarte is. So Tarte was like, oh no, we need to find some other tokens to go on this trip with them. In comes Fanita, Sparks and Rex, Specs and whatever, and someone else. Fanita made a TikTok and a whole thing. So people started responding, hey, Fanita girl, how you doing? This isn't really a good look because you're on this trip due to the fact that they were discriminating against another black girl. And then Fanita did a couple of TikToks and some TikTok lives where she was basically telling us that we ruined her first brand trip and everybody who keeps making videos about how she shouldn't have gone on the trip needs to mind their business. And basically she centered herself in a conversation that wasn't technically about her. And then she kept doubling down on it no matter how many times other people tried to call her in. Like, they weren't even trying to call her out. They were offering grace. Like, we understand you're young, you're excited, you're being introduced to new opportunities, but not all money is good money. And she was just basically like, y'all are jealous and ruined my first brand trip. And then after that, she decided to move to LA, get weight loss surgery, and morph into the person that she is today.
I'm not going to get too much into that because that's not what this video is about. And I think I might have covered a little bit of it in my video about Fanita. Maybe I didn't. You should watch the video if you haven't though.
Oh my God, bro.
I remember Niké, formerly known as Specs and Blazers, inserting herself into this drama. And it was so memorable because she did it in such a vicious manner.
Y'all was putting the dark-skinned girls through hell.
You guys attempted to ruin my career. 14 years I've built helping you guys. I've paved the way for you, and you attempted to ruin that because of one girl chose to lie. I'm not gonna forgive you, but I pray God does. And to Bria, I understand that you might be going through a lot. I would forgive you eventually, but I pray that you truly, truly, truly reflect on this moment and understand that you have a privilege that I myself will never have and Fanita will never have, and you use that to your advantage. And it was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced.
And I remember that despite Niké saying that she was an OG in the beauty creator space and that she paved the way, everyone being like, who is this woman? Why is she making this about her? Where did she come from? Who is this woman? And I also felt that way. But as you could probably tell, I'm not into beauty content, so it wasn't a big deal to me that I didn't know her. I didn't know much of any of the creators that were big beauty influencers back then, unless they were like really huge. I was more concerned with how hostile she came off as.
Listen, there is absolutely nothing wrong with calling brands out. I'm the queen of it. I built a whole brand around calling brands out that is actually literally my brand. But what I do, calling brands out publicly and still getting campaigns out of brands every single time, it's an art. It's a talent to cause that much chaos and come out unscathed every single time. One thing about Specs and Blizzards, I would never be broke. I would never, like, I've been gone for 6 months and I've worked harder in the last 6 months. Brands are like, no, we can't have you retire. We need you. The industry needs you. Let me explain this to the younger generation of influencers. You can't, if your brand has never been calling out brands, and one day you put a camera in front of your face and started doing it, you just look crazy.
Her role in the drama was just weird because this started with Bria, backlash was put onto Fanita, and then this woman sort of victimized herself, maybe in defense of Fanita. She was literally defending herself to an army of no one. She could have just been trying to be a good friend or colleague by attempting to take some of the pressure off Fanita and put it on herself, maybe. After all the Tarte trip drama, the general consensus around Niké seemed to be mostly that she was unliked.
So Niké really gives me bad vibes. Before this whole Tarte drama even started, I was scrolling on her page like a few months ago, and I just realizing that the engagement and the likes just weren't adding up. And for something to not be adding up, she sure was acting really cocky, really better than, like she would look down on a lot of black women who weren't being, I guess, classy. So she was born and raised in Nigeria, and I think she moved to LA, but she had that mindset where she thought that African Americans weren't, like, I don't know, classy. And you can really tell by the way she spoke. For example, I think she said if you wore a bonnet outdoors, you were like not classy. I feel like she really panders to like the white audience and the white gaze. But I really do feel like her business practices are very fishy and suspicious. And I wouldn't be surprised if something comes out that like exposes this. I don't know. Honestly, I feel really bad for Fanita because she was used by Tarte and Niké. And I don't think she realizes that. Like, she's doubling down and she still thinks that she's owed an apology by Bria.
And when the dust settled from that, I really did not see her again until she popped up on my For You page as a quantum physics expert. And seeing her recent return to my For You page really got me thinking, because the content creator that is currently being presented comes off as so pleasant for the most part. And that's in such stark contrast to how I was originally introduced to her. So after seeing grifting allegations, I decided to explore how Niké got here. My first just general search of Specs and Blazers, which again is what Niké was formerly known as, brought me into mentorship controversy. Apparently Niké started a mentorship program, which she named In Full Insert Academy, where I'm assuming she's teaching you how to be an influencer. I won't say the academy turned into a scam per se, but there did end up being a lot of drama that came from a few mentorships.
The only reason why I'm sharing this story is because I do not want this to happen to anyone else. If you're trying to be an influencer, I really pray that this video gets to you, because you do not need to pay someone for validation, and I am living proof. So I was following this girl on TikTok and I really love her message. Like, I was like, okay, she was giving really good tips. And there were times where I was really stuck in my career and I was like, yo, like maybe I could reach out to her. Maybe she could help me. So I reached out to her and she told me that she had this program that she's, going to become a mentor and I could apply for the program. So of course I did. I apply for the program and I get in, and the first conversation we have, she's like, welcome to the group. Did you send the money? Yeah, I did send the money. So I was like, okay, whatever, it's business, I get it. But what really made this whole experience so terrible and so toxic was that she literally would compare me to other people, and not in the ways that you would think. So if you have a mentor, someone you look up to, and they compare you, you're thinking, oh my God, like so-and-so is doing this, like, yo, you can do even better, you can be better. No. It was, yo, I just got this girl $20,000. Like, what are you doing? If we didn't have a conversation in the last, like, I can't remember the last conversation we had. I can't give you opportunities if I don't remember our last conversation 5 days ago. Why aren't you showing up for yourself? Like, you need to do better. Yo, I have a daughter. I have a family that I work my ass off to give a better life. And these are the messages this girl is sending to me, yo. So it got even worse, and it really hurt me because I told this girl something pretty personal. And a few days later, this girl makes a video about what I told her in a negative light. Yo. So eventually, you know, I had to take a new job because, like, content just wasn't paying my bills anymore, unfortunately. And so, yeah, got this job, and I had to work. So there was a time I scheduled a meeting, but this girl was putting so much pressure on me that I was, like, trying to schedule it, and I was, like, getting anxiety, and, like, I had to miss meetings because I was working, you know? And this girl flipped out on me. You hurt me, you disrespected me. And I get it, like, I was late to our sessions, but girl, I have life that's lifing right now. Happy Friday, y'all. So I recently shared my story about how I had a bad experience with a certain Harriet Tubman of influencing. And I think it's time that I tell y'all my experience. I'm not going to sit here and bash all of her practices, her business, what she does, every single step. I'm not going to do that. All I'm going to do is share my story. Throughout the mentorship, I just didn't feel respect from her. I didn't feel like she was a mentor. I didn't feel like I can trust her. She broke my trust early on in the relationship. She love bombed me in the beginning of the relationship, telling me she loved me. We only spoke for a few days. Like, it was just so many red flags that were thrown on the field, and I did not catch it on time. But there were so many promises made, so many things that were listed in this agreement that I never got and I never saw. There was nothing that she actually tailored to me. There was no thought into working with me. She didn't really put thought into the program. I can tell it was just kind of like whatever comes to mind, comes to mind. She didn't really think about me throughout the mentorship. So yeah, I just didn't get what I thought I was going to get. I did not. So when I was fed up, I finally decided to just cut ties with this person, and this is the email that I sent to this person, and this was the response that I got back. At this point, I was just really tired of talking to this girl, and this is the message I sent to her, and this was the response. So once I realized she wasn't going to give me my money back, I decided to dispute the charge on my PayPal. And this was the response to the PayPal dispute. I just feel like if you own a business and you get a bad review, like, you would at least say, hey, can you tell me the things that went wrong? Can you tell me how you felt? Like, you know, can you at least give a little bit of feedback or at least apologize? You have a business. Not everybody's going to be happy with your business. So a few days after the dispute, I get a knock on the door, and it's CPS at the door. I don't know if it was her who made this call. However, the CPS officer told me that the person who called said that my daughter was naked on TikTok and that she was around strange men on TikTok. Just using TikTok alone made me know exactly who this person was, because those videos have been up for months and months. So it just doesn't make sense. This person came from my family, came from my child. So today I got the message that PayPal decided to deny the claim. And at first I was so mad. Like, I was definitely going to talk to a representative. I already had them on speed dial. But I'm no longer going to let this person dictate my feelings and my emotions. And I'm done talking about it. I'm done letting her live rent free in my head. So yeah, that's my side of the story, and I'm sticking to it.
Christina's story was very unnerving, and the way that Niké responds is just very unprofessional, very unlike someone who is running a mentorship program. Definitely seemed a little unhinged. I thought the email that Christina sent Niké initially came off as fair and rational. The post that seemed to be on Niké's social media is really what sent it into uncharted territory, if you ask me. If I'm remembering correctly, the course was $1,250. I believe that's the number that was in the contract that we'll get to later. I feel like requesting half of your money back is not unreasonable, but I do understand that per her contract it's non-refundable, and I think that's all you really have to say. It didn't have to escalate to the second pair of emails where she is advising that her lawyer is her ex and doesn't mind providing her services for free. If you're running a business,
this is a business.
There's no way you should be speaking that way to people who have paid you. Eventually, Christina and Niké seemed to resolve their issues. Niké eventually did end up sending her a partial refund and apparently apologized to Christina. Another student from Niké's academy was also inspired to speak out about her experience surviving Niké, allegedly.
I'm sorry if this sounds rehearsed, but this is a disclaimer that I am at fault here. It's my fault, and you should take heed of my warning and learn from my mistakes. Be very careful with who you're giving your money to online with these online mentors. Now, for the sake of transparency, I run a masterclass on how to do my job as a VA, okay? So I'm very familiar with this space, and I'm very careful with the experience that people have. I paid over £1,000 for this mentoring program on how to be an influencer, right? Yes, I know I'm a fool. Now, this is one of those situations where I was like, okay, this is okay. On second thought, this is not okay. I don't want to go into it too much because with the threat of legal action, I'm just going to be very vague. This individual would hang up the phone on me whenever they were upset about something. They would insist that I be on time to sessions, but they themselves were late. They wouldn't take any sort of notice of the fact that I was in a different jurisdiction to them. They were 8+ hours ahead of me. They wouldn't even send me resources that were suitable for my jurisdiction. Like, you're literally sending me something, but they don't sell where I'm at. And you didn't even think to research it beforehand. They'd go weeks at a time without speaking to me, then they blame me and say that, oh, I didn't want to talk to you. Like, what? Because I was stressing you out. Come on. One would expect that since it's your course, you provide the framework. And as somebody who also provides a service to people, I know how important it is for people to have a positive experience. And where people have not had positive experiences with me, I know it's my fault and it's a failure of myself. And I know this individual is not even going to see this as anything. They're just going to brush it off to the side. Listen, no, I'm scared of you. If you send me anything, I'm going to post it. I don't give a heck. I'm very scared of you. Don't send me no friendly messages, please. Even some of the stuff that was said to sell this program to me, it came to light that during the session, some of them were wildly misrepresented. Even now it's coming to light that the claims made were wildly misrepresented and that the reality was very different to what is advertised. And you might be thinking, why are you speaking now? The reason that I'm speaking now is because the things that this person has said and done, the plots, the intimidation, the threats against other people behind the scenes is deplorable. You are awful. And it's very against my character to sit down and watch an injustice happen without me stepping in and doing something or saying something. Number two, I don't want you guys to waste your money as well. Like, even when people were advising me not to say anything, I was like, but what if other people go on this course and like me, they waste their money? I don't want that to happen to anybody else. And number three, I'm not even going to pretend the things that are currently happening right now is making this person seem like less of a giant to me. But anytime I see them, I get a spike of anxiety. Like, you know the type of anxiety where you have to poop? That's the type of anxiety I get. It's not just bad vibes, it's just irks my whole spirit existence. And I'm not even proud of my behavior. I'm not. I really tried to be liked by this person. I didn't even know what was going on sometimes because I would receive conflicting messages. One day my video is trashed, the next day you're super proud of me and you're happy, and all this love bombing BS. Like, please. Like, I even went as far as to film a testimonial for them, but I never posted it because it just never sat right with me. I can't endorse something I don't fully believe in. Don't be like me and blindly trust somebody because they look like you and because you share the same culture. With your money, it should always be guilty until proven innocent. If by force you want to do it, make sure you do your research and you fact check everything. Do not trust them off of what they are telling you about themselves. Trust them on what they show you. And on top of that, make sure you have all the time in the world to dedicate to it, because apparently that's what's expected. I will state one positive, which is after I finished the program, I got an email from a brand and they helped me draft a response. The amount quoted in the draft email was almost the full budget for the campaign. However, I did not get the deal. I don't blame them for this. However, if you're providing mentorship to somebody in a different country to you, the least you could do is research the market. The influencer market in the UK is very different to the market in the US. I felt like such a coward for the past few weeks for not saying anything because it's not in my nature to experience something like that and not speak out. But I also felt like a bit of a failure for not achieving what the other girls in the program achieved. Like, at one point I decided to pack it in because I feel awful posting, so what's the point? All I can say now is I'm happy I've been blocked. I'm free.
So how do we know that she's talking about Niké when she didn't say Niké's name? Oh, well, Niké responded directly to her with the video.
The other lady, we had, I thought, the best 6 weeks ever. It was full of laughter. I am tough. My personality is not for everyone. And I make that very clear in orientation that this is not going to be easy. It's a boot camp. I'm going to push you a lot. I was very tough on her. I was especially tough on my Nigerian influencers because I know that we have that work ethic and we can take it. I was tough on her, but we laughed most of the time. And at the end of the 6 weeks, we were on the phone together. We shed a tear together when she was saying goodbye. We waved, we hung up, and that was it. On her own volition, after I went to the Sierra's event, she sent me a video saying, hey, I made this video for you. And the video, I'll let a few of it play here.
If you don't know who niché is, where have you been? She's Specs and Blazers. Carter agency, influencer for 10 years, like niché, come on. And she has an academy where she basically helps you get started and gives you all of the details on how to become an influencer. But it's not like some sort of BS course. No, it's like a serious course with like real information.
I was talking about how the Influencer Academy was the best thing that ever happened to her. She learned a lot, and she cannot wait to spread the word about the Influencer Academy. She sent it to me. She's like, I want to post this for you. And I said, oh, that's so sweet. You don't have to, but thank you. And she said, but only if you follow me back. I said, what? She said, yeah, if you follow me back, I'll post this very positive review about you. And I said, but I don't follow anyone. I only follow my mom. And on Instagram, I don't follow anyone. And she goes, if you follow me back, then I will. And she kept going back and forth. And at this point, I'm uncomfortable. I'm like, you don't have to post the video at all.
In the video, she also addresses several other things that she advises are lies.
I'm not the first entrepreneur who is a mentor. Here's Gary Vee. Halfway through my first cohort of the Influencer Academy, I quickly realized that a few of the girls were not in the academy to get any influencer knowledge. They're in the academy for mental health help. I have dealt with some of my students' mental health crises in such a way that it has affected me mentally myself. But out of all of them, Christina Abiola was one that stood out the most. By orientation, when she came into the academy, when I got off the phone with her, I was depleted because she'd trauma dump every single life issue she's ever had in her life in orientation. We did not discuss influencer goals. We did not discuss anything that she needs to accomplish in that first conversation, which I normally do with everyone else. I was simply just spending the whole hour saying to her, everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. While I myself is like, what did I get myself into? This is not normal. This is a school. This is not a mental health crisis helpline. Christina Abiola did not complete any homework. Not one that I asked her to do. I would give her a time for us to meet up. I was flexible with her. She would make the time and not show up. And she did this over and over and over. And by the 4th class, I was tired. I said, if you do not show up to class, it counts as your time. Now, here's my contract. My contract says no refunds, no transferable. It's my principle. I'm a principled person. I will always stick to principle. In week 4, Christina Abiola showed up to class because she said I divulged a personal information of hers. So let's clear that up. She showed up to class and said, Niké, oh my God, I'm getting married in June. And I need you to help me come up with a $50,000 budget that can be sponsored by brands in Costa Rica for my wedding. And I'm thinking, huh? And she's like, yeah, I need you to figure out who can officiate my wedding for me. I need you to figure out who can help me get the cake for free. I need to get the venue for free. I need to get my wedding dress for free. I need to get everything. I need to get the whole wedding for free. And I need you to help me with the money that I paid you to find everything for free. I was like, I don't even believe in weddings. And I've never been to Costa Rica. I'm not a miracle person. How can I do this for you? And this is where I went wrong. I should have never asked any more personal questions. I simply asked her, this is a lot of tasks you're asking me to do. This is not part of the Influencer Academy 6 weeks course. Why can't you and your fiance come up with the money? How is this impossible for you? You've been influencing for 12 years. You told me he has a job. What's going on? And she said, and I quote, I would have to come up with all the money by myself. my husband and I, or fiance and I, split all the bills. But when it comes to this wedding, it will have to come all out of my pocket. And I did not say a word back. She says now that I look at her with disgust, but I did not say a word back. And in that moment, I said to myself, niché, you've let your students cross the line. They think you're a mother to them. They think you're a savior. I realized that Christina Abiola did not apply to my academy to be an influencer, apply to my academy to have me sponsor her wedding. That is way out of my scope of expertise.
I did look at the first page of the contract niké provided. Her services offered for the program do sound good. The program would be 6 weeks. They would get tailored email for brand outreaches. She would help budget. Each mentee would get 6 live lectures. And also, she was going to be available 24/7 for email support. She also included that she would be your mentor for life if you completed the program. All types of various things. I did see the clause about no refunds. I also did see the clause in there about a prompt payment needing to be had. I also saw that they had to sign an NDA. I feel like if you're taking someone on as your mentee, signing an NDA for mentorship is a little sus to me, but I've never signed up for mentorship. It also kind of seems practical when it comes to the verbiage about like not sharing names of personal partners and addresses and things of that nature. I mean, like, I get it, but I feel like I would probably be personally put off if I had to sign an NDA for someone to be my mentor. But that could also be because she's like a public figure of sorts. It does seem as though Christina meant it when she said that she was done talking about niké and the situation, but did respond.
It's me, LOLOLOLO. My username is LOLOL, like LOL, like a joke, by the way. It's so unnecessary for you to name me because you could have just left it. Because now I can just outwardly speak about it and address you directly. My sessions were far longer than 6 weeks because you admitted that you didn't want to speak to me, so you didn't reach out for sessions. First, I think it's very concerning that you would just blatantly lie because you and I both know you asked me for a testimonial. You quite literally said, and you're going to write me a testimonial. I was like, okay. Knowing damn well I'm not writing no flipping testimonial. So in lieu of that, I did a video because I know you wouldn't post a video of myself anywhere without my permission. I didn't want you to have a testimonial on your website that you could use with my name over and over and over again. No. So I filmed the video, I sent it to you, you said you loved it, great. I never posted it because I didn't believe in it. And like I said in my other video, I'm not proud of my behavior because I should have addressed you directly and told you how I felt about it, but I was too scared. You caused me a lot of anxiety and fear that I was a failure, that I wasn't doing anything correctly, that I was like, I'm being so for real. To start my CBD oil drops again because I had to put your messages on D&D. You caused me that much anxiety because of how you I know it sounds dramatic, but it's how you treated me. You weren't nice. You weren't kind. You were very critical, not in the constructive way sometimes, but in a very mean way. It's not about you being tough, because I'm used to tough. I'm Nigerian, as you know. But I have a mentor, and he's tough, and he's kind as well. And it wasn't a pleasurable experience. So by the end of it, I just wanted it to be over, but I also really wanted you to like me, because I'm like, why doesn't she like me? Why is she mean to me? Now this fear and this anxiety, me giving a fuck about what you think about me, went away when I found out about Christina, how you had been threatening Christina, and subsequently what happened with her child. Whether or not that was you, that was unacceptable, and that's where I drew the line. I was like, fuck it, I'm done. Even when I posted a video about what I actually thought, I was still afraid. I was still anxious. I took my drop. And because at many points you threatened to sue me if I said anything critical. But then in the same breath you said my testimonial should be fair. I was like, what am I supposed to do then? I'm confused. I also find it very concerning how you can twist one tiny aspect of a conversation into something else to work for your benefit. I will tell the truth to my detriment. Very rarely do I lie, and if I lie, I will tell on myself because I can't keep up with it. We were wrapping up our sessions. It was our last session, and you said, keep up with me, make sure you text me. And I said, I definitely won't text you. And you seemed hurt by that. And I said, I don't reply to people's messages. Really, I just didn't want to talk to you. I'm not good with messages already, but I definitely don't want to talk to you. And I said, well, follow me on TikTok and we can DM. I'm on TikTok a lot, and then we can, whatever. And you said, oh, I only follow one person on TikTok, and that's my mum. And I said, oh, okay, cool. I even suggested you having a group chat with all of the girls on the program. I said you should do this thing where the only people you follow are the girls on your program, and you were responding to that. And I jokingly interrupted you and I said, I just want you to follow me, really. Nowhere in the portion of that conversation did we talk about me posting my testimonial. And again, I have proof of this. I did not say, nowhere would I say, I will post this video
if you follow me. Like, Chelsea, come on now. Shed a tear. Shed a tear. Come on. Don't know why you feel it necessary to lie. You can't even refute half the things I've said because it's my experience. You've taken certain aspects and twisted it. For what reason? I didn't even ask for my money back. I gave a fair and honest review about my experience of your program. That is it. A good mentor would reach out to the person and apologize. Maybe offer to give them their money back. Give an explanation. Something. Anyways, I'm done now. Everything I've said, I have evidence to support. I'm so glad Christina spoke out and supported me to say something because I feel genuinely free. I genuinely feel like I'm back to my normal self now because of this situation. I'm glad the situation for Christina has been sorted. It's done. Now, for myself, I genuinely hope that this has been a wake-up call. And I hate to be that person, but I honestly wish you healing, divine healing, and humility. Goodbye.
Again, calling the Academy a scam, I think would be a bit much because it does seem as though in some way, form or fashion, services in regards to becoming an influencer and helping be an influencer were maintained and given. It just seems as though participation may have came with a bit of trauma. So after looking over the whole influencer debacle, I started to think to myself, one, she kind of told you guys up front, influencer. I feel like it was pretty clear this was gonna be foolish in nature. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to victim blame or anything like that. Niké did have a whole thing about why she named it influencer. I think something about her ex used to call her that, and so she trademarked it, something like that. I'm just saying I personally would not have signed up for anything indicating that I may be a fool. That's just me though. The second thing I thought about was, what is this woman's credentials for founding such a prestigious institute? So I started to just look on various social medias. She's had a YouTube channel with her earliest posts being 9 years ago. Views consistently on the lower end. It looks like maybe on Instagram she gained a little more traction by being a lifestyle, fashion, beauty influencer, sort of kind of quiet luxury like. And I would say around the time that she started being a lifestyle content creator, she had like a mean girl era.
One of the girls who tried to call me out recently, the only brand she's getting money out of, the owner is my friend. And the owner saw the video, called me and said, say no more, that relationship ends right here. Don't burn certain bridges. Don't do it.
This was like around the Tarte drama era. She was like also being called out for not liking black women and generally talking down on them.
I'm not going to stop just because she doesn't believe that she deserves success.
Every time she says her full name, I cringe. You're Yoruba and you can't say your own last name. Imagine you're gonna say,
Black people are the only people on earth, the only group of people who continuously and consistently ask for handouts everywhere we go. Like, how we not? At one point, we gotta start getting embarrassed. Like, we're always looking for free stuff from the government, free stuff from each other.
Just random, weird, seemingly bully-like behavior. A big part of her come up seems to be the fact that she was scammed by the Carter Agency, which seemed to be a company that was masquerading as a talent and management agency for celebrities and influencers. Niké states that they had stolen thousands of dollars from her. And from what I understand, there were other influencers that also had money stolen from them by the Carter Agency. This scam seems to have happened to her sometime in or before 2022. And I say that because I found this video where she is doing an interview in regards to the scam, and it's dated 11/8 of 2022. And the Tarte trip situation, from what I remember, was in 2023. But I wanted to mention it because around the Tarte trip situation, again, that was when she was kind of in her mean girl era, and there had been a series of small cancellations and people doing more digging into Niké because people were trying to figure out who she was after she inserted herself into the Tarte trip situation. There were TikToks about her faking her follower count because her followers to viewers to like ratio wasn't adding up.
The shadiest person to come out of all this isn't Tarte, isn't the CEO, it's that Specs and Blazers person. Because I've been to her profile and the numbers aren't adding up. And I mean that literally, the numbers are not adding up. Her entire brand is quiet luxury, but everything that she's doing screams the opposite. Going this hard for a brand trip to Miami when you have the access to quiet luxury literally does not add up. But even more than that, how are you calling yourself Hold on. How are you calling yourself the Harriet Tubman of black influencers when your numbers are what they are? Now, before I go into this, let's all get on the same page, okay? If you have a minute-long video, you can expect a likes-to-view ratio of 1 to 3. If that video is below 15 seconds, that ratio is 1 to 5. And then anything in between is anything in between those two numbers. That's also how you can tell if you're not on the algorithm anymore, is if your likes outpace your views. But anyways, like, she's nearly 500,000 followers to 10.4 million likes. That prickles my senses, but that could make sense. But then, 36K views, only 265 likes. Like, if you do the actual calculations, it rounds out to, like, less than 1%, right? Like, that's abysmal. And so many of her videos are like that. Harriet Tubman at least did the numbers she said she did. But even more than that, in my opinion, I think she's manipulated this entire situation. Because if you remember, like a year ago or 2 years ago, I can't remember when, she did that whole Carter Agency media push thing. And I'm not saying that the allegations against Carter Agency was not real, but the way she's handling this Tarte trip puts everything that she did back then in a completely different light for me. Because I remember she was pressuring people to start talking about it, particularly pressuring other content creators who were signed with Carter Agency to come forward and handle it publicly rather than privately. Like, this is their business. And while Fanita is entirely responsible for her own actions and the way that she handled this, I think that this entire situation is exactly what Specs and Blazers has been looking for, which is a controversy that puts her in the same light as somebody who has far better numbers than she does and far better earned social capital on social media than she has. And I'm very wary of her.
So after being semi-canceled or just kind of ran off the internet, it seemed like Niké took a break and seemingly used inspiration from perhaps being scammed to pivot her content. I don't think anything is wrong about changing your content. I feel like that's pretty normal in order to find your footing. On this channel alone, you can see skits that were probably pretty bad. Food reviews. I miss doing food reviews, actually. Show reviews. I actually do want to do more show reviews. I just don't have subscriptions to anything, so it's a little hard, but something's brewing. I think it's very natural to go through different stages of different types of content, but I do think something resides in the way of how you pivot or why you're pivoting. Are you pivoting because you're growing? Or are you pivoting because people don't like you for something you said or did anymore? Now you got to disappear for a bit, let them forget, and then come back brand new. Because it's in 2023 where she announces that she is going to quit influencing to focus on financial literacy. And this rebrand seems to also be when she went from Specs and Blazers to It's Niké, Not Nike.
I just started hanging out with these ladies. 3 of them are self-made, 2 are generational wealth, and I wanted to share with you guys the 5 habits I noticed every time I hang out with them. Let's do it. Hi, my name is Niké, not Nike. I paid off $120,000 in debt. It was in Business Insider, and while I was doing that, I became very obsessed with financial literacy. So I want to teach it to you guys. Let's do it.
She is still currently making financial literacy content in addition to quantum physics content. I'm not gonna call it bad advice. A lot of it is pretty basic knowledge or knowledge that you've likely heard somewhere at some point. But I'm no finance bro, so don't take it from me.
Here are 10 financial lessons your parents should have taught you that I'm gonna teach you. Hi, my name is Niké, not Nike. Let's do it. Number 1, you have a financial ceiling in your nervous system. We all do. If you grew up poor, your body and your nervous system will keep that ceiling in your system until you fix your nervous system. Fix your nervous system, you fix your bank account. Number 2, a Roth IRA is non-negotiable in your 20s.
While I was looking into her, I did come across a video of a guy who got really deep down the Specs and Blazers rabbit hole, and apparently she used to have listed that she was a UN ambassador.
So I made a video regarding Specs and Blazers, and then it was later taken down for a community guidelines violation. And then I tried to look up Specs and Blazers, and I think she blocked me. I don't know. So maybe she was a little scared by the stuff I was saying, so I'm gonna remake the video. I'm gonna be 15,000 times nicer, okay? What I was saying is I felt uneasy about Specs and Blazers. Something just felt a bit off to me, and I just didn't like it. All these stories were coming out. It just still didn't feel right to me. It wasn't enough for me. So I did about 2 hours of research on it. And I did like this whole recap of how I got into it, how I found anything. We're just going to go jump straight into this time. If you look her up on Google, apparently she's someone that companies really like to work with, which is great and phenomenal with her. This is by Personal Insider, 4 strategies to help a fashion blogger used to improve her credit score. And it says her name down here at the bottom. She's right there. So, that's good. My problem was the other stuff that popped up when she said her name. And again, this is just speculation. But again, I have not found any data to back up these claims. So that's why I made my video. Everything I'm looking at tracks out. I go to her Instagram, she's got a video with Sierra. Everything is tracking out except this one thing. I go to this website. It says, she's right here. I know you can't see it. I'll show a better picture later. Digital influencer plus UN ambassador. Now, you guys know that I'm a political TikTok channel, so that upset me a little bit. Because UN ambassadors, you'll have data on every single thing they do. And I've watched this, I didn't know who this person was before, but I've watched her over the couple days. And if she was a UN ambassador, do you really think she wouldn't have said it? Like, let's be honest. Niké is very passionate about humanitarian work and recently appointed as Nigerian's ambassador to the United Nations. This is her, right? It says her whole bio, so I don't know. Again, this is just speculation. It's not harassment or bullying. TikTok will take my video down, okay? I'm just bringing up the point. No one's ever heard of her, and now she's an ambassador to the United Nations? This seems a little far-fetched to me. And I just think, there are some fans of this person out there, and I think they would really like to know who this person is. I think they would like to know who the person they support really is. Now, it says she was appointed recently, and that post was in 2018, but this guy has been the ambassador for Nigeria since 2017. And I looked up her name, and then I put UN ambassador at the end. There are no search results except for that website. There's nothing else that says that except for that website. Now, there are different types of UN ambassadors. Our girl Selena was a UN ambassador, a Goodwill ambassador in 2009. She played an active role in advocating for the world's most vulnerable children by participating in numerous campaigns, blah, blah, blah. So she could be Nigeria's Goodwill ambassador. But how have we never heard of this person, her amazing humanitarian work? Again, this could all be true. She could have done phenomenal, amazing work for children, okay? But I'm just saying, I did hours and hours of research. There's nothing to support this claim.
She did address it at the time as well when she made that really long video debunking lies that were made about her.
Debunking lies, part 2, United Nations. For those who don't understand, the UN is a pretty large firm. They have, of course, their ambassadors based on countries, but they also have global ambassadors. They are usually celebrities. And now that we know influencers are also celebrities, influencers. And those particular UN ambassadors based on each country can, per project, can appoint a UN ambassador for that particular project. July 24th, 2017 at 12:43 p.m., I got one of the best emails of my life from the United Nations asking me to be part of their Share the Meal campaign. This particular campaign ran for 3 months, and for those 3 months, my job was to use my platform to raise money for the kids who were suffering during Boko Haram. I took it very seriously. I'm a nationalist. Anyone who knows me knows I love Nigeria very much, and I took very much pride in it, and they actually suggested that I put it in my bio, and I was very proud of it. I showed it to all my friends, my family, everyone who would listen, that I am a UN ambassador for their Share the Meal program. In 2018, Grifter Clothing nominated me as their leading lady. Unfortunately, the company has since shut down, and my friend Justin was the head of the company, and she's like, I want to write an article about you. And as a proud friend, one of the things that she thought was important that I mentioned in that article is that I was a UN ambassador. Very few people get the honor to be called that, even for a moment in time. And she was adamant that we put that in the article. Since then, no one has ever brought it up. No one has ever questioned it. And I never thought anything of it. I didn't even know it still existed on social media until we arrived at this armchair detective, Artemis Talks, who thought he was smart enough to do an investigation
In lieu of simply Googling how UN ambassadors, global ambassadors, campaigns are assigned, he chose to do a 10-part series on me, calling me a scammer, a fraud, and that my UN ambassador, calling the UN, I'm sure they thought he was crazy, to verify this information, and collecting views, money in his lives, using my name, clout chasing using my name, something he could never accomplish on his own merit. If I was inventing niché and I was a nobody, you would need to make a series on me.
I did notice that on IG, she lists herself in her bio as a best-selling author. I tried to find her on like a published bestsellers list. I could not. Maybe I didn't look hard enough, but nothing came up for me. To my knowledge, she has written 2 books. Yes, You Can Have It All, and How to Be a Fearless Networker. The books have been alleged to be AI slop, heavy on allegedly. I don't know, I didn't read them. I did read the synopsis for each. Seemed like very book-like synopsises. Synopsises? I don't know.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Old as you is.
From what I can tell, she has a book that sells best out of the 2 available. She could be referring to being an Amazon bestseller, maybe. It is worth noting that in my very minuscule amount of research, being a bestseller doesn't really mean much of anything. It's kind of just like being put on a list because you sold a lot of books, but also you could be put on the list because there was a large amount of books purchased and then like donated to some library. It's not that hard to get on the list, apparently, because of how often the lists are updated as well. So I'm not saying that makes or breaks an author. I just thought it was interesting that I couldn't find much of anything to support her self-entitlement of best-selling author. But hey, marketing, you know? Also, her books do have good reviews on Amazon. Pretty solid. Okay, so guys, this is where we get a little deep, okay? Why am I talking like that? All right, everybody settle down. Don't click off the video. I saw comments saying that she was MAGA.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
It took me a while to come across anything that reflected as such, but after doom scrolling for a while, I did come across this.
Communities is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up.
Video just a tad bit anti-black. I feel, and I could be wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong, that this video, this lecture that he was giving to this black man who just stood there and took it, was perpetuating the stereotype that black people weren't smart and can't make their own decisions. It actually feels a bit like a slave master talking to a slave or a group of slaves and telling them, you better get in line or you'll be outside in the fields working all day. I loathed that video. That video was so triggering for me. And I want to say this to black men. You are brilliant. You can make your own life decisions. You can decide who you want to vote for. That's what makes this country great. I feel like if you're running a strong campaign, you should be confident enough to know that the people are going to vote for you. You don't need to lecture them. If I were standing there and someone was talking to me like that, I would 100%, even if I were voting for the candidate that you were lecturing me about, I would vote opposite just because you lectured at me. Okay? That's literally the only reason I would do it, out of spite, because No one should be talked down to. No one should be belittled. No one should be chastised, especially publicly. And I also find it interesting that we're the only group of people who are told, actually encouraged, to speak down on our men, on black sons, on black kids. We're the only ones. He wouldn't talk to any other race like that. I promise you that. He wouldn't. He couldn't, actually. I don't know how black men are voting this November, nor do I care. I do know that overall black men are perhaps tired of the empty promises that this party keeps handing out to them and not giving them anything. And rightfully so. They're brilliant men. They're hardworking. They're tenacious. And they're tired of the cycle that they've been stuck in for 100 years. They've been voting the same way collectively for almost 100 years with no results. And so I could understand why they're like, what could possibly be on the other side for us? Whether we like it or not, we just have to let them vote the way they want to. I love that even his senior advisor, Obama's senior advisor, came out and said that was a miss. He shouldn't have done that. He might just have tanked this woman's campaign, because no one wants to be lectured to, especially men. No man wants to be lectured to, you know. And I don't have any poli-sci major, but I think the way he could have handled that was simply say, what are your concerns about this woman? What is it about her that you guys don't trust? Let's talk about it. Like, have an open table instead of standing there above them, like, I'm better than you, you know? In lieu, he could have had a conference room and have some movers and shakers of the black community sit there and says, okay, what can we do for you to, like, earn your votes? Because guess what? Votes are earned regardless of race, color, ethnicity, sex, gender. They're earned, they're not given. In lieu of building bridges, he chose to do a public scolding, I would argue public lynching of black men. Black men have unique experiences, unique struggles that needs to be catered to during election seasons. Like, we need to speak directly to them if we're trying to earn their vote. Like, hey, what can we do for you to make life better for you so you can feel uplifted in society in lieu of feeling belittled? Was him really alienating the people who are most likely going to decide this election, black men, and instead of engaging with them, you know, black men are brilliant, they're kind, they're loving, and they deserve to be celebrated publicly and to be uplifted and to be seen as a vital and integral part of progress in society, progress in black culture, because they've done a lot for us, no matter how much we want to publicly chastise each other.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I did not take the time to go find the full clip, but from what I gathered from the clip that was shown to me in this very TikTok, this was Obama telling what seemed to be a group of younger black men to vote. Now, he did inject some bias. He called this a clean vote, as to say it's like a clear choice on who to vote for. Personally, Donnie personally, wouldn't argue that he was wrong, me personally. But again, definitely clear bias. For good reason, if you're asking me personally, Donnie personally, me, Donnie as Donnie. But was he talking down to these guys? That's not the vibe that I got. Granted, I also have a bias. I like Obama. I definitely could relate his tone to matter of fact of sorts. But I didn't get that he was talking down to them. Has anybody seen this full clip? Am I misinterpreting? Was this Obama being fully out of pocket? Let me know, but I feel like she was kind of misconstruing the point here. And you might be like, okay, well, that doesn't prove that she's MAGA. You're right. It does not. But what I did is I opened the comments, as you do, and I saw that she seems to have liked a particular comment here. I think that says Trump 2024. Is that a Trump 2024 comment? I could be reading that wrong. Does anybody see something different other than Trump 2024? And it looks like the creator liked it.
You will be sentenced to 30 days in jail, during which time you will get African reconstruction psychotherapy, African Reconstruction Psychotherapy. 30 days in jail, community service, African Reconstruction Psychotherapy.
Take that as you will. But now she is a pseudo-quantum physicist. And I'm not sure if Niké's newfound followers are aware of her journey into how she became who she is today, or at least who she seems to be today. I'm not here to argue about if the quantum physics that she's teaching is real or accurate or an accurate representation of quantum physics, because there were actual physicists and scientists and people of science in comment sections arguing amongst themselves. And if those types of people are arguing amongst themselves, I know that I'm not qualified to speak on it. However, I will play you this video.
I'm going to help you manifest $10,000 in just 24 hours. Get a pen and paper. Hi, my name is niché, not Nike. Let's do it. It's called Robotic Affirmations, and it was pioneered by the great Neville Goddard. And I can prove that it works because I have a story time to back it up. So how do you do robotic affirmation? Choose the affirmation, just one sentence or two maximum. And you have to say it over. Make it short, make it factual, almost cold, okay? Examples: money flows to me. I always get paid. My life gets better every single day. Number two, you want to repeat it with a monotonous tone over and over. No emotion, no spirituality, no dramatics, just mechanical, like you're programming a computer. Remember, our brain is quite literally just a computer. The best computer in the world, but it's just a computer. Why? Because your subconscious responds to repetition, not emotion. Our brain cannot reject repetition. It literally can't. Step three, repeat it until your brain gets bored. You have to actually physically feel tired. Like you have to feel exhausted before you stop. Okay, boredom equals absorption. When your mind stops resisting the statement, it starts believing. Number four, act as if, like Neville Goddard would say, act as if the belief is already installed. I didn't know how I was going to get that money, but I knew I was going to get that money when I woke up in the morning. Woke up. I didn't go to sleep. But I knew I was going to get that money that day. I was very sure of it. My brain was already convinced that money supports me. Now, step five, look for tiny openings. Life will send you chances. You got to pay attention to it. A call, a client, an opportunity. Your job is to say yes faster than your fear. Start your robotic affirmations today and watch what shows up for you in 24 hours, okay? Promise that you will do it below. Robotic affirmations. I believe in you, and I pray you always believe in yourself. Stay fabulous. Bye-bye.
I do feel qualified to comment on that. As much as I love a good manifestation, as much as I love a good law of attraction, as much as I'm a create your own reality type of girly, I am not sure that advising your audience that they're gonna manifest this amount of money within 24 hours is ethical. That could just be a self-limiting belief. I don't know, the 24-hour turnaround time is a bit tight. It's a bit tight. Listen, I don't know Niké, so I am not here to hinder any growth or change that she may have experienced as a person. She could be making a hard pivot and or grift after being heavily disliked on the internet, or she could be growing into her true self. I don't know. I have seen people as recent as the end of last year post about how she's still commenting mean things under their posts and lashing out.
There's this one doctor on here who's a mathematical physicist, and he made a video recently calling out this pseudoscientist who's this creator. And I realized that whenever he tagged her, like in the description, her name didn't pop up bolded, so I had assumed that she blocked him, and so I commented, "Did she block you, LOL?" She replied to my comment and said, "No, I'm right here." Didn't reply to any other comments, and then she proceeded to come onto my page. I study astrophysics, by the way. And this is what she said. Okay, I'm wearing the same top in this, don't mind it. She said yikes to one of my like thirst trappy videos. And I said, "Girl, I know you're not." She said, "You are very unattractive. Give up the whole influencer dream. It'll never happen." First of all, please don't ever call me an influencer in your life. I am not like you. I am not like you. We are not the same. We are not the same. I use my platform to try and bring awareness to people experiencing homelessness, as that's something that I've experienced myself. But this just goes to show how much we've given like celebrities in general just airheads. But also, why do you care so much? All I commented was, did she block you? And then she proceeded to delete her comments on this video. Girl, give it up. And like, no hate to influencers at all. Like, I respect the grind. That's just not me, boo. I game sometimes. That's about it. But I am not an influencer. Also, she claims to be like a neuroscience. I don't even think she's a student at a university, and she makes all these videos essentially being like a pseudo intellectualist or whatever. And it just, coming after me, someone who's actually trying to actively get a degree in this field, is insulting. Bye.
There's even a recent allegation of Niké stealing content.
Biting somebody's content word for word is crazy. And Niké, not Nike, I think the disappointment, what is happening right now, is the expectations. My expectations of who you were as a woman and as a person was up here, and now that shit just lowered. Because there's no way you took my entire script and made a video and then blocked me. You blocked me and then posted a video of what I'm about to show you in the next clip. I'm talking about down to the lip gloss. Everybody know I've been putting on lip gloss on this damn app as a visual hook for a while. You took bar for bar, word for word, and you took my visual hook. Not just my verbal hook, but my visual hook. Baby girl, are you really who you say you are? Did you know that poverty had a language? Yep, the same way that rich people have a language, the same way that low self-esteem has a language, the same way that confidence has a
You know that poverty has its own language? Do you know that poverty has its own language? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Here are 10 things that you should stop saying right away, because poverty.
And let me tell you why it's stolen content instead of borrowed content. It's not borrowed content because you blocked me in order to do it. It would have been you borrowing my content or using my content as an inspiration had you not blocked me. But because you blocked me and then posted it 4 hours ago, this seems a little shady. This speaks to character trait.
I'm not sure if Niké is aware of her own behavior. I heard people mention that she's made a post about her struggle with BPD. I did not see that post for myself. I am not an expert on BPD. If someone with BPD would like to give some perspective on if this aligns with BPD, love to hear it. Niké does have supporters that ride for her. And I did see someone say in order for her to be grifting, she would have to be trying to extract something from her followers or from somebody. And well, I'm here to tell you that it's your lucky day. Niké sells 45-minute phone consultations for only $100. Is this proof that she's trying to extract or elicit money from her followers? I don't know, you tell me. To be fair, when it comes to content creation and working for yourself, it is suggested to have some form of income that does come directly from your audience so that you're not always reliant on brands or platforms or things of that nature. If you do have a source of income provided by your audience, it does aid in helping sustain yourself as an entity on the internet. Niké? Is that her name? I feel like I've said her name so much that it doesn't even sound like her name anymore. Niké. Yeah. So Niké has books and has phone consultations. Those sources of revenue are going to come directly from her audience. Who's going to buy those things? She may have other stuff, I don't know. More commonly amongst YouTubers, you'll see people have a Patreon or set up memberships here on YouTube. Back when she was more so a lifestyle and beauty influencer, it seemed as though she targeted more towards brands to partner with her. Also, that's when she created the Influencer Academy situation, which is kind of back, by the way. I don't think it's called that, but she has opened up her mentorship again.
She's back. You guys have been asking me, bothering me almost, to bring back the mentorship program. And after
lots of prayers and lots of thought, I think I will bring it back in a small capacity. When it ended last time, I told myself that I would never do it again. It was a brutal ending. It broke me. It really did. I spent the last 2 years plus recovering. I went through a horrible smear campaign that I now know, after some investigation, was orchestrated by influencers that I looked up to my whole life. And they didn't like that I was making money from their followers. So when it ended, I spiraled. I did because I knew my intention was good, and I knew that I was pouring so much into those girls.
I'm not trying to demonize passive income from an audience. I don't think that's inherently bad or evil or anything like that. There may be a time where I have a Patreon or memberships or something, I don't know. But still lies the question. Is this grifting? Or is this just the art of the pivot? The necessary rebrand to stay in the game? Important business move type shit, you know? In all honesty, man, just stay woke. Nah, I mean, not too woke, lest you end up paying a pseudo quantum physicist a large amount of money for phone calls. If you're watching this, niché, I'm not saying you're not what you say you are or anything like that. I'm just saying anybody that can't afford a $100 45-minute phone call. Don't do it, Hajima. That's actually what this entire video is. It's really just to remind people to be financially literate. Yeah, that's all I got. I appreciate you if you watch this entire thing. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have the time, hype the video. I really appreciate it. You know, it does a lot for the channel. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, please leave them below. Did I think too deep about this? Is this entire video weird? Does it make no sense? Will you be booking a 45-minute phone consultation? Have you booked a 45-minute phone consultation with niké? Was it worth it? Has niké grown into a better person and we just gotta let her cook? Let me know. Okay. Love you. Bye. And if you're one of those people spending $100 on a 45-minute phone call, let me hold something. I got you when I get paid.